Every morning is an opportunity to connect with Jesus. Whether you're looking to get started or looking to grow more, DDPC is for you. Join us as we connect with Jesus together.
All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Daily Devotions with Pastor Chris. I am your host, Pastor Chris, and this is episode 1120. It has been a minute since we were together. So I am glad to be back on live with you this week. Took a little break through Christmas and the New Year's just to kind of reset and develop our new rhythm. But today we are back in the saddle once again. So if you're just joining us this for the first time, maybe you're just starting morning devotions and you stumbled across this stream or a friend sent this to you. This is just a little live stream that we do 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday. And we cover a variety of topics all around the Bible and trust and hope and pray that it touches your heart on some level. So we're a church based out of Connecticut, and so if you're in the local area, we're in the middle of Connecticut around Oxford, where church is in Oxford. We would love to have you come visit sometime. So anyway, we are welcoming all of you. And so this is Daily Devotions with Pastor Chris, aka DDPC, episode 1120. So here we go. Always try to start with either a fresh glass of water or some freshly pressed whole bean decaf organic coffee from Gorilla, which is water pressed, of course, for the healthiest version of coffee that you can find. All right, that's it. I don't sponsor them, but I just like it. So, all right, here we go. Let's see. Let's get right into this today. I'm a little bit rusty. It feels like I got out of my DDPC groove, But I got a question. Have you ever find that you can't do things that you used to be able to do? I mean, it's kind of a rhetorical question. We know that that's the case, that there's just some things that we used to be able to do that we no longer can do. Like your body doesn't work at 50 the way it worked when you were 17. It just doesn't function that way. But other things, as you age and as you grow, get stronger, right? And other areas you get more proficient. And so the point is that at every stage of your life, there needs to be growth. And that growth is dependent upon the stage in which you're in. For instance, you grow and you expand in understanding of life, in conflict resolution, in finances, and balancing spreadsheets, and keeping a budget, and in daily life skills. You grow in wisdom and in knowledge. You become an example to the generation coming up behind you because you've been down the road. You've made some mistakes. You've corrected and you've moved on. And so this is, of course, one of the reasons why we always want our kids to listen to us, right? And because we're like, listen, I've been there, right? But guess what else is supposed to get stronger the longer that you live and the further that you go? You're supposed to grow in your spiritual fight, in your spiritual tenacity, in your spiritual ability to overcome the enemy. That spiritual muscle should be stronger and stronger every day that you grow closer to the Lord. And but there's also an ability or a lack of ability if we don't exercise that muscle. You think about that spiritual muscle. You think about characters in the Bible like Samson. Samson was a judge in Israel. He was physically strong. He was politically connected. He was religiously respected. And he was even spiritually a giant at one point in his life. But as time went on, there came a point of compromise. And it's in that compromise that he began to lose his spiritual fervor. Though, God told him multiple times, God warned him, God put people in his life. He even sent trusted friends to warn him but Samson got to a place where he just thought he knew it all. He felt like he didn't have to listen to anybody but himself, and he selfishly fell to his fleshly desires. He was told not to marry outside of the tribe of Israel. He was told not to go after the Philistine women. But he couldn't help himself. And so in time, he lost his spiritual ear to hear the Lord. And the Lord had a pact with Samson. He said, as long as you don't ever let the blade touch your hair, you don't ever get your hair cut, you grow your hair out, you will have a supernatural strength. And that's why he was able to overcome the Philistines over and over and over again, because he was almost like Superman in a respect. But he did one day lose his power because of the very thing that God warned him against, and the very thing that God sent roadblocks in his path to tell him, listen, you can't trifle with people like Delilah. You've got to separate yourself from these things. We talked about this a little bit in church yesterday, and I tried to kind of hit it from both sides. But the reality is that when you are following after the Lord with your whole heart, there are certain agents of wickedness and mockery that you've got to cut out of your life. And because Samson did not, he lost his power, and he lost his position, and he lost his prosperity, and he lost his vision, and he lost his place. And he even eventually lost his vision, like his physical vision. He lost his spiritual way, but his eyes ended up getting gouged out. He was chained to a millstone and just ground wheat for years. And so he literally lost everything. We see this when it first kind of happened in Judges chapter 16 and verse 20, after Delilah had conned to him 3 times and said, what is the secret of your strength? And he said, I can't tell you that. And she said, well, don't you love me? And he said, I love you. And she said, then why won't you tell me? And so finally he gives in. And she tried to deceive him all the other times, and why he didn't see this, nobody, it's just beyond me. But here he is, and she says it one more time, and so he says, my strength is in my hair. And so while he's sleeping, she has his hair cut, and then it says in Judges 16 verse 20, so he awoke from his sleep and said, I will go out as before at the other times and shake myself free, because the Philistines were upon him. And he says, but he did not know that the Lord had departed from him. And this is the enemy's end game, guys, to kill, steal, and destroy your life. And so one of the signs that your heart has shifted from God is when you start witnessing the absence of spiritual power. If you find yourself going down a road like Samson did, where you're just going to do things your way, even though you know what God has said, you're going to do it your own way. you will not immediately be aware that God's power has left you. It's only after you have tried to defeat the enemy like Samson did that you recognize that the enemy is no longer afraid of you, but now has a stronghold on you. And so when you go against the enemy and you find yourself powerless against the enemy, it's because the spirit has departed, because and it's not that God left you, it's that you left God. And disobedience to the Lord is what will separate you from God. The Philistines, as before, expected a swift defeat, but this time the Philistines easily prevailed over him. Samson didn't look any different other than his hair was cut. Samson believed, he had faith, right, that he was going to be able to go out and do what he's done before. But this time, the spirit was not with him. And this is, listen, this is when you get to this place in your life, that is a dangerous place to be. It's very dangerous. And you will find yourself in a spiritual mess if you walk in disobedience. Now, you may assume that everything's fine when you pray. Answers do not come but the answers don't seem to come as they once did. You know, that this is a sign that you're spiritually anemic. When you go into prayer and you pray and you're thinking everything's fine, but you don't sense the presence of God or the power of God the way that you did before. You need to check your heart and seek the Lord on that. You may think that you still hold spiritual authority, but principalities and powers suddenly will have room to rule over you instead. And in the same way that one person grows weak when they start, like if you exercise regularly, right? Maybe you swim a lot, right? And you're a swimmer and you go but then you stop swimming and you just expect that you're going to be able to have the same kind of stamina that you had when you went to the pool, 3 days a week and pushed yourself. Now suddenly you find yourself winded and tired and exhausted. Why? Because those muscles are growing weak. The same happens in your spiritual life. This is why the Bible says daily you put on the armor of God. Daily you go into your prayer closet. Daily you beat your body and make it your slave. Daily. You know how a runner loses his ability to go the long distance when he hasn't laced up his shoes in 6 months. So it's the same way with the person who may look like a Christian. You may act like a Christian. You may do all the Christian stuff and go through the motions, and you're the first at church and you're greeting people and you're serving in ministries and you're giving in the offerings and you're going on trips and outings and outreaches, but you're operating out of your deficit. You're operating out of need, and instead of out of the overflow that comes when you're full of the Holy Spirit. And so when the flood waters come and they hit you hard, you will no longer be able to withstand the storm. You'll be swept away by it. But church, God has more for us in 2025 than that. So how can you stop this spiritual decline? You've got to regularly find yourself in the pause, that sacred place where you pause to get the instruction from God, because it's in the pause where you repent of sin. It's in the pause where you make things right. It's in the pause where you discover your own selfish mindset is trying to combat the Lord's wisdom. It's in the pause that the promises of God are spoken to you in the still small voice. It's in the pause that God gives you your marching orders. It's in the pause that the promise of God is reestablished for you. So may I offer to you Psalm 139, verse 23 and 24 today. It says, "Search me, O God, and know my heart." What a vulnerable prayer. Search me and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts, and see if there's any offensive way in me, and lead me into the way everlasting. You've got to get to a place where daily you invite God to search your life, run your life through the filter of his presence, and see if there are any attitudes that need adjusting, relationships that need mending, or activities that need to be removed, or things that got to be severed. You must fervently obey his will. And if you will walk with God in that manner, you will build your spiritual self. Your strength will be used mightily by him. So don't wait around to think about giving this a try. Accomplish the power of the pause today, because today's a gift for you. Today's the day that you've been blessed. Today's the day that the Lord has made, Psalm 118. So let us rejoice and be glad in the fact that he made today, and you're in today, and his blessings are new today, and his faithfulness is sure today, and it's new every morning. And so today, walk in that strength. Strengthen your spiritual muscle today. So I pray that challenges you. If you're available to come by tonight, we're having prayer at 6:30 at the church. It's a great way to have that spiritual pause, and we can do that together. All right, that's what I have for you today. Quick shout out to Jackie, and to Ann, and to Mark, and to Paula, and to, oh my goodness, look at this. Here comes man. We got the trifecta here. You got Jasper's in the house.
Happy New Year.
Good to see you. Samantha Endress is with us. God bless you. Lisa, thank you for joining us. Melissa, good to see you today. Kate Williams on with us today. As you saw, Jeanette is on. Diane Riley on this morning. God bless you. Maurice, thank you for joining us. Oh yeah, now the hearts come, Jeanette. The hearts come flying on the Instagram. Elizabeth Orlando, good to see you today. I'm not hurt by that at all, guys. Not at all. All right. Carrie Ann McAndrew, thank you for joining us. Rocco Baldino, Tom and Colette Jagoda, Eileen, Toma, Jacqueline Campoli. Good to see John Cookson on, Narda Allen, Tara Rose, Marty May, Janetta Dobler, Melissa Morse, Scott Dobler, Tom Rakowitz. Good to see you guys. John, Denise and Yvonne LeBlanc. God bless you both. Good to see Renee this morning. Thank you for joining us. Laura, thank you for being on DDPC. Good morning, Dad. Nice to have you on today. Welcome, Daniel Lozovikas. Hope you're feeling stronger and better, my friend. Good to see you today on DDPC. Kim and Joe Sikelski on with us. Mike and Alina Patton on today. Good to have you guys as well. Deb Click in the house. Thank you for joining us. Tina Poe also on this morning. Lynn Pace with us today. God bless you, buddy. Good to see my Aunt Cindy on here as well. Thank you guys for all just giving me that break and for being so quick to jump back on. I really do appreciate this. Eileen, good to see you on this morning. God bless you. Good to have all of you. Lauren, nice to see you on. Lauren M.L., thank you for joining us. Good to have Kim Zabrowski on today. And that, my friends, kind of gets me to the end of our list today. So listen, thank you once again for being part of DDPC. Have a blessed day. Go out, take the world, man. It is not by might, it's not by power, it's by his spirit. Be filled with the spirit and go fulfill the calling that you're called to. All right. God bless you guys. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.